Well, that's something eventually the conversation was leading to the new documentary. This documentary is about your experience, your personal connection to Bashar, that journey. It's called First Contact. First of all, when is it going to be released to the public?
This September, and then wider in October, as far as we know right now. There will be a few theatrical showings, not many, and then it will be available after that, probably on VOD and DVD.
A lot of people have been highly anticipating that. A lot of people have also started using that energy and comparing it to disclosure itself. That's kind of the whole idea with a lot of people, that this represents one large piece of disclosure.
Absolutely.
And when you're working with that?
Yeah, in part, that's part of what the film is about. Not only did we want to make the film to demystify channeling and present the idea that this is possibly a contact from an extraterrestrial source, but that its main purpose is to examine what the impact on our society would be to have open contact, and also as a indication that this might be the first, or at least one of the first steps toward open contact with another civilization. So the film was designed to serve sort of all of those purposes. And therefore, with that information getting out there, ideally it will sort of pave the way, at least be one more thing that will help pave the way to disclosure of the fact that these beings already exist.
Well, absolutely. Can you give us a little bit about what your intent was before you started creating this film? Maybe what some new intents were during the creation of, and how it's looking now, maybe things that surprised you in the creating of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were quite a few things. I mean, we always had the intention, first and foremost, it's like we knew, well, no one's ever really documented the story of how someone becomes a channel. Now, of course, it's different for everyone. But we just thought, that's a story that just has never been told. And we wanted to have a opportunity to create a media format, like a film that we know reaches more people in a very different kind of a way. And so we wanted to share some of Bashar's information in a new format, basically, that could reach people differently. But I think the idea that came about that was relatively new was just in realizing that this, from Bashar's perspective, is actually one of the tools of first contact in the way that they do things. In any civilization that they begin to form a relationship with, they work with the people to create very specific certain kinds of tools that do increase the probability vibrationally of having contact. So while this may not be the only tool, I do believe that doing a film like this is one of the tools that can help accelerate us toward the day when we can actually have open physical contact with not only Bashar's people, but probably other ETs as well.
Well, absolutely. It makes sense because you're already igniting more excitement in people by the idea of this first contact and how people are connecting to the idea of Bashar and Bashar's race. Bashar and you have talked about connections to other races for a long time. In fact, Bashar predicted before the Phoenix Lights came and talked about that and how it would occur. So all of these energies point that towards that disclosure and kind of the obvious keys of how this dialogue with Bashar, how your creation of this movie can help push contact forward. Has Bashar talked to you, or have you had any insights on what other kind of ways that this will help promote that disclosure?
He doesn't necessarily give us a lot of that indication yet. The only thing he has said is the film in its present form will do the job that it was designed to do. So he's a little bit mysterious about it because I don't think he wants us to see completely behind the curtain yet. But he has assured us that it will have the impact it needs to have. So,
okay, and I know that, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, so in that sense, your guess is as good as ours at the moment as to what it's actually designed to do, because I know it'll work on many different levels. One of the things that often happens when something like this comes out to the public and they see all the things that we actually have in this film is it triggers other people to suddenly come forward and share their experiences. And I know that that's one of the more powerful things that can happen to bring about disclosure, is just seeing how many more people have actually had experiences and how many more are invited or encouraged to come forward and talk about their story because something like this comes out to the public. So it's my hope that it will have that kind of an impact and get people to sort of get it talking about it and make it more public, which I think will certainly help reveal the fact that it's kind of like, what's the phrase? It's like the biggest secret that everyone knows already, right? And just getting them to talk about it and be okay with talking about it and not feel like they're going to get ridiculed and so on and so forth, is an important thing. So hopefully the movie will give them the ability to say, okay, I'm not alone. You know, here's this guy who's willing to put this out, so I'm willing to talk about my experiences as well.